This year, I handed real parts of my business over to a machine. And what I found is almost the opposite of what the courses promise. The thing we call AI is worst at exactly what they swear it's best at, and quietly brilliant at the boring work nobody makes a video about. So forget the hype and forget the doom, at least for a few minutes. And let me show you the real thing, my actual stack. 5 unglamorous jobs I hand to a machine every single week, what each one really saves me, and the exact moment in each where it falls apart and I have to take the keyboard back. By the end, you'll have the whole map and you won't need to buy a thing to get it. And here's the world you already live in. Type AI business into YouTube and you get 2 kinds of video. One camp sells you the dream. Start a one-person company, scale it to 1 million while you sleep. The first solo billionaire is coming. The other camp shows up furious to debunk them and says the dream is fake, it's all hype. And then at the very end, they both sell you a course on how to do it the right way. Both camps are running the same play. One sells hope, the other sells outrage, and they both land you on a checkout page. And you can feel it in the comments. The top reply to one of these videos just says, most of these guys are former dropshipping coaches. The audience already knows. So I want to do the one thing neither side does, show you the work with the parts that don't work left in. A quick word on why I'd know. I've been running businesses for about 30 years and I use these tools every day. This isn't a forecast, it's my Tuesday. And I'm not hiding the answer inside a membership you have to buy your way into. It's right here, free, because I would genuinely rather you use it. I've got a book and a newsletter, and I'll name them once at the very end, but you won't need either one. Now, to make sense of any of this, you need one frame, and it's the thing I actually say out loud from the stage at medical device conferences. Most of what we're all calling AI right now is machine learning wearing a new coat. Let me be careful here, though, because this is exactly where people love to jump in and correct you. I'm not saying there's no such thing as artificial intelligence. As a field of research, it's real and it's serious. And large language models, the chatbots, are genuinely more than a simple algorithm. They're a strange, powerful amalgam, and I use them all day long. So I'm not the guy standing here waving it all away. The rebranding lives in one specific place, the marketing. The threads, the hype reels, the gurus promising you the moon, those aren't research scientists describing their work. They're people reacting to a sales pitch. And that pitch took plain old machine learning and renamed it AI for one simple reason. AI sells. And here's my favorite proof, and you can go check it yourself tonight. The FDA keeps a public list of approved AI-enabled medical devices. And right now, there are more than 1,400 of them. Software that reads a scan, flags a tumor, watches a heart rhythm, real regulated life and death tools. And almost none of them are what you picture when you hear the word AI. There's no chatbot inside your CT scan. They're narrow machine learning models, the kind we've been shipping since the 1990s. And here's the tell. The FDA used to title that list AI and machine learning. Then they quietly dropped the machine learning and they just call it AI. That's the rebrand in the regulator's own handwriting. So here's the rule that runs my entire stack. AI does the task. I keep the judgment. Everywhere it helps me, it's because I handed off labor. And everywhere it burns me, it's because I let it near a decision. Hold on to that, because you're about to watch it happen 5 times in a row. Job 1. I build software with it. Not toy scripts, but real tools my business actually runs on. The studio that compiles these videos and renders the slides. A knowledge system I'll show you in a minute. A tool that pulls competitors' press releases apart. That used to mean hiring a developer and waiting weeks. Now I describe what I want, and a working first version shows up the same afternoon. And here's where it breaks. The code it writes is confident, fluent, and sometimes completely wrong. Wrong in ways that look exactly right. It'll invent a function that doesn't exist and swear to you that it works. So I never ship a single line I haven't read and tested myself. The machine writes the draft. I'm still the engineer who's accountable for it. That's the handoff. Job 2 is images, the thumbnails, the illustrations, the little pieces of video like this one needs. I used to do these all myself in PowerPoint, just basically stick figures, and it would take me a day to crank out the ones I needed. Now I generate 10 versions in the time it took me to write the brief, and I keep the one that actually works. Where it falls apart is taste and consistency. It'll hand me a person with 6 fingers, mangle the text, or wander off brand without noticing. It has no idea what my channel is supposed to feel like. So I'm the art director. It makes the options, I make the call. Same rule, labor, not judgment. Now, let me stop the tour for a second because you might be wondering why I'm so calm about all this when half the internet is either euphoric or terrified. It's because I've seen this exact movie before and I had a front row seat. Years ago, I owned shares in a company called Lucent Technologies. At the time, it was the most widely held stock in America. Everybody's retirement had a piece of it. The story was simple and it was everywhere. This company was too big to fail. Just hold on. I watched it fall from around $80 a share to about 52 cents. And the people inside were still saying, wait it out, the whole way down. And it's never just stocks. Remember when one big AI lab said its text generator was so incredible, so dangerous that they couldn't possibly release it? So powerful, trust me, bro, we can't put it out. 2 weeks later, they released it. That's not science, that's a movie trailer. And the wild part, it's happening again right now. You don't even have to go back years for this. Watch it happen live. A few months ago, Anthropic put out a model called Mythos that, they said, was so incredible at finding security holes, it was too dangerous to fully release. The Treasury Secretary and the Fed Chair actually pulled the chief executives of the 5 biggest banks into a room over it. That's the setup. So incredible you can't be trusted with it. And then the air started leaking out. That scariest headline, the one about it breaking into classified government systems, that was authorized testing, not an outside break-in. Independent researchers showed plain old open source models could dig up a lot of the same kinds of bugs. And then, exactly like the last time, just days after warning it was too dangerous, they released a version of it to everyone anyway. They called it Fable. Now, I never got near Mythos. Almost nobody did, but I spent a couple of days with Fable, the safe little sibling, and it was awfully cool. But too incredible to release? You know that word, incredible, literally means not credible. It cannot be believed. They keep using that word, and I don't think it means what they think it means.
You keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
Use the tool, skip the circus. Okay, back to the stack. Job 3 is research. When I need to get smart on something fast, I'll point AI at a pile of sources and have it pull out the shape of the thing. The players, the arguments, the numbers. What used to be a research analyst's entire week is now an afternoon at my desk. But this is the most dangerous job, so stay with me. It'll hand you a fact with a citation in a confident voice, and the fact will be invented. It happened while I was making this very video. It told me the FDA had over 1,500 of these devices, and I checked the real page and the number was about 1,450. Close enough to believe, wrong enough to embarrass you. So nothing important goes in until I've checked it myself. Job 4 is competitive analysis. I built a tool that collects every press release a competitor has ever published, pulling from public archives going back years, and lays out how their story quietly changed over time. The gathering, the reading, the sorting, all of that used to be weeks of grunt work. Now it's mostly automatic. What it can't do is tell me what matters. It'll surface 100 patterns, and maybe 3 of them mean anything at all. Deciding which 3 and what to actually do about them, that's strategy. That's mine. It brings me the haystack neatly sorted. I still have to know which needle I came for. Job 5, and this is the one I'm proudest of. Every founder slowly becomes the company's memory. You're the only one who knows why you priced it that way, what that customer actually said, which idea you already tried and killed. You become the lookup table, and a lookup table doesn't scale. So I built myself a second brain. It's an open project on my GitHub called Company Brain. The idea is simple. You capture what you know one time, your products, your customers, your decisions, all written down as plain notes that link to each other. Then the AI reads the whole web and writes the documents that used to eat your week, the plan, the briefs, the sales sheets. Change one fact in one place and all of it regenerates. You stop hand syncing 5 slightly different versions of the same truth. And the breakpoint here is the whole heart of it. The machine can organize the knowledge, and it can render the documents, but it can't decide what's true. Someone still has to look at the real world and say, this is real, this one matters, this is who we are. That part is human, and I think it always will be. So add it all up. Across those 5 jobs, AI gives me back something like a day or 2 every week. Real hours, not a number off a sales page, but look closely at what it actually handed back. The typing, the gathering, the first draft, the sorting, every bit of it was labor. And here's what it never touched. It didn't decide what to build. It didn't choose which competitor matters. It didn't know what was true or who my company is. Every hour it saved me, I poured straight back into the judgment, which turns out to be the actual job. I didn't get replaced by my machine. If anything, it promoted me. Which brings me to the one job I'll never hand it. There's a line going around that says it perfectly. Do not ask a chatbot whether the wild mushroom you found in the woods is safe to eat. It'll give you a beautiful, confident, well-organized answer, and with a wild mushroom, wrong is not a typo you get to undo. That's the whole game in one image. The danger was never that AI is dumb, it's that it's fluent. It packages a guess so beautifully that you stop checking. So the one thing I keep every single time is the final call on anything I can't take back. The decisions with no undo button. That judgment is still the skill. The prompt is just the typing. So let me turn it over to you. Of those 5 jobs, which one would you hand a machine first, and which one would you never let it near? I've got a hunch about where most people draw that line, and I think plenty of you are going to disagree with me. And if you think I'm being too careful, that I'm leaving real speed on the table by checking everything twice, then make that case. I might be wrong about some of this. If this was useful to you, the best thing you can do is subscribe so the next one finds you. And if you want more, I wrote a book for founders and I send out a monthly newsletter called The Build. They're both there when you want them, never in the way of the free stuff, because the answer was the video itself. Use the tools, keep the judgment, and skip the circus.